This truck is broken right now. I need to do a few things on it. I've already pulled off the vacuum pump. So the problem with this vacuum pump, I think it got filled with water and froze. So there is a big crack right here on this end cover. So I need to get this pulley off so I can pull that off and make sure there's no other damage in there before I try to order this. This isn't the proper way. The proper way would be put a bearing splitter on here and use a puller and pull it off, but I don't have one of those right now. Alright, I don't think I damaged it at all. Let's see, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, easy. That's just kind of a, I think it's called like a push lock. You push it in there and it locks, but then you push this piece. You push this piece back in, and you can release it. That's just an oil line to oil the bearings while it's running. And goes to this little pump here. You see those numbers? That means metric. That doesn't mean what fractional size converts to metric. That means you use a metric wrench to take the metric bolt out of the metric hole. And that's just the way it is. These here, you don't really mess with them right now. Those are about setting the bearing preload. There's a bearing inside here. So I'm hoping that I don't have to touch any of that. So I'm just gonna leave that. So now I need to get this cover off. And there is a special tool for it. That's what these holes are for, but you can just take the bolts that you just took out and thread them in there. And then you use the bolts to thread in there, then they'll push against this plate and push it off. I'm not sure how well it's gonna work because there's the crack is going right through this one. We'll see. Out of here. Trying to be a little bit careful because there are these in here. They look like gaskets, but well, I suppose they work as gaskets, but they're actually shims. That's to deal with the bearings and everything, so trying not to damage those. So I can kind of get between the drum and this end plate right here. doing that. I really thought this was going to be much easier to take apart, because I took the other side apart before and it wasn't that big of a deal. But this side just doesn't want to give it up. Just have to struggle with it. Alright, so that's off of there. I think that this bearing might be broken. I don't think it's supposed to do that. Maybe it's okay. So bearings and seals, they are always full of information that you can use. I could probably just enter this number right here, 107305, and get the seal. But the way that these also work, these numbers here is, man, it's hard to focus on. Okay, 35, 47, 7. So 35 would be 35 millimeters here. 47 would be 47 millimeters here. And then 7 millimeters there. So that's how these seals work. I'm not sure what that little 5 there means. And this SOG is probably just a brand. So yeah, I should have no problem finding this seal. That's kind of why you got to be careful when you take them apart too, because well, you can see where I was hitting it with a screwdriver, and that was all just luck. I mean, I could have very well, when I was knocking it out, had the screwdriver right in the middle of that number and destroyed it, and then I would have had to measure this or just go through the Masport dealer. But yeah, that's pretty cool though, that you can find that information. And then the bearings are always the same way. Well, I don't know, but this one might not be. No, this has got numbers on there. I don't know that these have size specifications, but you can almost always cross-reference a number on a bearing. This is 41307 CD or C0. It looks more like a D. Yeah, these. So, you know, maybe I will just get this bearing through a parts house too, because I really don't like that. That's weird. But that might just be how it's supposed to be. The other side, I never looked at it, because when I pulled the cover off, it stayed in the cover, so it just came off with the whole thing. Yeah, alright, well, that's pretty much that. I'm gonna make a phone call and see how much this end cover is gonna cost. I found it on a truck parts website and it was like $240. So I'm going to try to call Masport direct, because you can sometimes get a lot better price through them. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, that's bad. I'm surprised the front piece didn't break. Makes me wonder if it wasn't due to water being in there. I don't know. Alright, so I'm looking for something that says, well, there's a 15 in that one. That was 2 start and 6 start. I don't know. End cover H75, H15, so I think that's going to be it. This has it listed at 286.13. But what's a little bit scary is that right there. I think it might be a couple years past 2008. So 968-843. I tried to call Masport, but there was no answer, and they should be there. I mean, they're out of Nebraska, so I would assume that their day hasn't ended yet, but maybe with the coronavirus no one's there. But it was an 800 number, so I would just assume there'd be someone there to answer the phone. I think that's the one I need. This isn't a simple Amazon purchase. So, oops. I think I am gonna have to, let's head, oh, Canada. Not in Canada. I think I am going to have to get a hold of Masport somehow. Alright, I got some stuff from Masport. Alright, so that is the shim. So I said I was going to use that part number, the measurements, and get the seal, but it was just easier. I was talking to the guy on the phone, and you know, he's got it right there in front of him, so I'm like, you know, just send it. I mean, would this thing really get damaged if it wasn't in bubble wrap? A big piece of cast iron. Looks right, so that's good. I think I will pull all of these out. Oh, they are stuck too. Oh, come on. Dude. I think the issue with this one is there's beat marks on there. I don't know how those got on there. I'm pretty sure I did it. So I'm gonna pull these out and come back. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a chamfer there that's messing it up. Try to take that off. I really don't feel like doing this video today, but I'm gonna try to get something done with it. I've been really kind of struggling with my videos. Like I shot a whole video on me replacing a fuel injector in my truck, and it's all completely shot. It's not finished, but it's in the editing process. But I'm really struggling with it because the issue is I sat there and I talked pretty much the whole time. So I've got this video that's going to be in like a 2-hour video if I include all that, but I also don't want to exclude that. Kind of something I like to do in my videos, just talk. I don't really consider these how-to, even though I do put them under how-to. It's more of a blog of my life, I guess. But it's kind of making me think. So I want to get some sort of audio recorder. I was looking at a 4-channel one. That's also going to be related to something else I'm wanting to do. So I'm wanting to do pedo hunting, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically I would pose as a minor on dating sites and let old people, or well, adults pretty much, message me, and then I would reveal to them that I'm a minor, and I'd see if they would still want to set up a meeting, and then I'd go there. And they wouldn't be meeting a minor, they'd be meeting me. So that's kind of something I would want to do. It raises awareness on all the child predators out there. And myself, I've always had issues with child predators. When I was a young kid, like 13, there was a child predator that lived just down the street from me. And it just, it was tough because that was when the internet was pretty young. That was like 95, something like that. So adults didn't really understand what was going on there, but this guy, he would message me all the time, and he was messaging one of my friends, sending naked pictures of himself, and then my friend was going to turn him in. So the predator, he created a whole fake chat log, and got the neighborhood on his side pretty much, and it just always kind of bothered me that I was never able to do something about it. So now that I'm older and I've kind of got a lot of experience doing interviews, because when I busted the haunted factory and Acer as being a fraud and everything, I had to do a lot of interviewing with state agencies. I talked to a whole lot of people, like from Springfield, Chicago, and it was very intimidating, but I did it. And it really helped me out. So I think I have a lot of skills now where I can do successful interviews on child predators. But I haven't done it yet, so I might, who knows, I might just completely bomb it. It might just not be something that's for me. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I don't know, it's kind of intimidating because you don't really know who you're going to meet. But there's a lot of people that do it on YouTube, and it always seems like the predators, it always seems like they're, I don't know, non-confrontational, weak, and pathetic. So I don't think I really have anything to fear. I mean, I'm generally a lot bigger than most people. I'm a lot scarier, I guess. I never thought of myself as scary, but a lot of people seem to think that. So that's something I would like to do. Maybe it would help out the community, because that's a big part of my life, is helping other people and doing charity stuff. So it's just something I wanted to do. So I've been looking at 4-channel audio recorders, and I could also use it for stuff like this. That way I could overdub or voiceover, do commentary on my videos. kind of like for that video I was talking about with the fuel injectors, there's a lot I wanted to talk about, but a lot of it's not really that relevant. So it might be nice to actually produce a script and just voice over the whole thing, or overdub it. So I don't really do a lot of post-production on my videos. I do most of this off the cuff. I do think about some of it before I shoot it. Like I kind of have a plan, but there's not a whole lot to like scripting, which they make my videos more genuine, but it could be a lot better. Because most people when they don't script, you tend to say and you tend to say that a lot, because not everyone's an eloquent speaker, and I definitely am not. That's kind of, I didn't want to make my videos like just take another step in them, just do them better. Yeah, I think I'm ready to try that piece on there. I'm gonna cut away and go get a drink. Alright, I was just messing around with this. I was trying to set it up to make sure it went all together easy before I started videoing, and I got that thing stuck on there. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to put it all together, and that's going to be it. I'm not going to, because my plan was to put that cover on there, check it out, and pull it back apart. But to get that piece off, when I just had it stuck on there a little bit, I had to beat and pry, and then I just had to refile everything. So I'm going to put the vanes back in. I'm going to put the gasket in here, the seal, and that's going to go together, and that's going to be it. So I'll go ahead and video that. You do need to look at these vanes for the rounded side. That's the side that needs to go outwards. Normally when you put these in, you want the side with the spring to face your oil. So if it's your axle seal or something, you want this to face inwards. Ow. You know, I'm gonna find a socket that fits this so that way I can pound it down. So I got an 1 3/8 socket, fits that. God, this thing is hot. That does not seem right. Oh, it looks like there's a shoulder in there. I should have looked at that first. Oh, it's so hot. Seal in there. Yeah, like that's gonna stay in place. I'm gonna get some rubber cement, put some rubber cement in there, because that's gonna fall out and piss me off. So I think I'm gonna have to put bolts in and kind of pull it together. And these bolts aren't gonna be long enough. I'm gonna have to go find, oh, they're metric. Okay. I got this fence pounder. That worked a little bit. I just gotta get these dowels to align. Okay, so I'm gonna have to sit here with this triangle file and just kind of work on the holes on both sides and maybe file these pins a little bit. These are hardened steel, so I don't know if I can file them, but that's just the way it is. This is stuck on that bearing now. It's gonna be way too much work to try to get it off, and I would probably end up damaging things. So I'm just gonna have to sit here and do this. And it's blazing hot out here because that's just normal. It's about 95 degrees, 100% humidity, bugs and gnats everywhere. Kind of reminds me of putting in septics. When we used to do a lot of those, every single septic system, the whole day, just bugs and gnats in your mouth, in your eyes, just never ends. It's just what a shitty place this is. Why the hell would anyone ever want to settle in a swamp? I don't get it. So I forgot to put that shim in too. Fight with that. I think I am going to have to just find some longer bolts, because if I start pounding this down, that gasket's going to fall out, and eventually I'm just not going to be able to get it in there, right? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna need to get some long bolts and pull it in. Maybe I can find some. Alright, I was able to pound it down a little bit and get the O-ring to stay up in the channel. So now I'm gonna just barely got these catching, so I'm just gonna work my way around. That one's not catching at all. So hopefully I can just pull it down into place. And hopefully it doesn't crack the new cover. And of course these bolts are 16 millimeter, which is always the wrench or socket that no one ever has. Don't know why, but most sets don't include 16 millimeter. Alright, I'm just, kind of going back and forth with this, and it is pulling it down. You can see how it's shaving the metal right out of that hole. I suppose I could put this bolt in now. Well, actually, that's the one that I pull the thread out with it. That'll work. I had to put my gloves on because all my tools are just burning. sticking your hand in a fire. Not a lot of places in this world where you can live in the desert and the Arctic. That's how this place is. Alright, well that's on there, but now this thing isn't really wanting to turn. So I think I'm gonna fill that with PB Blaster and just try it tomorrow. So I don't really want to work at this anymore today. It's so hot and it's really affecting me, and I'm trying to lose like 30 pounds, so I'm sitting here just shaking and sweating and extremely hungry. So it's probably best for me to just stop working on it right now and maybe work on it tomorrow or something. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna stop. Well, I'm back, and it's actually been a few months. So I got an injury, and I hadn't been able to do any of this stuff. Plus, been just busy with work. So I think where I left off, I just gotta take this oil fitting here, put it in here, and take these bearing preload things and put them in there, and then I think this will be ready to go back on the truck. So I'm gonna get that oil line in first. So about my injury, I believe I have a bulged disc in my neck. It's kind of better now, but probably not really. Probably just got used to it, so I just got to be a little bit more careful with what I do, I guess. But yeah, I haven't been able to do shit other than just go out and work my 84. And it's about 110 degrees out here, so I'm just gonna get a few things done. But after this, I think this vacuum be ready to go back on the truck, which isn't sitting right there anymore. I had to move it way over there. Oh, I also got a lawnmower to fix, but it's probably toast. I started a video on that too. Look at that. That's pretty cool. That fitting spins around within that fitting. I like that. So this oil line is just a push lock. Looks a little worn out, but it should be fine. Push it in, locks in place. All right, now I can throw that in my scrap pile. Here's my scrap pile. A whole lot of scrap. Just never have time to get rid of it. Plus, my back and neck hurts, so I don't want to lift it all. I almost forgot to, because I had that just stuck on there, I almost forgot to push it on all the way. And it looks like... what does it look like? I think it pretty much just needs to be even there, based on where that little divot is from on the fans. from that set screw. So I'm gonna get that on there. A little bit of silicone. I went ahead and I ran a drum sander through there and I media blasted this. It's tough to work with rust, so why bother? Brass hammer. Alright, now I gotta get some Allens and tighten those up. Another Allen for the key stock. Alright. This thing is ready to go back on the truck. And it's raining. Okay, so that's very difficult to see. I should have got a good shot of that before, but I need to put a coupler between those, and this is the one I wanted to use. This is a high troll rubber one, but it's all worn out, so I gotta use this one. The high troll is supposed to be better and last longer, but in my experience they last the same amount of time. And you're supposed to set everything up, like dial them in so they're completely in a neutral position to each other, and I've done all that. You still blow these things, so I just do it by eye anymore. So I'm gonna do that. So this is the oil reservoir for the oil pump, which supplies oil to the bearings and it lubricates the vanes. Guess I'm gonna need a screwdriver. Alright, that's supposed to point that way, and that's supposed to go into there. So I'm gonna put a pipe wrench on there and turn it more. And then I got to bolt this back together. Probably should put sealer between the two. Grab my own tool. Alright, I gotta get a new clamp for this. I'm not gonna put any new silicone or former gas or anything on this right now. I probably will later, depending on how much it leaks. For now, I'm just gonna put the bolts back in and see what it does. Okay, so the vacuum pump is all in, still gotta get that clamp. But I could actually run it right now if I can get the truck started, because this one here is the suction side from that goes up into the tank. Come on. This is your secondary shutoff. How this operates, there is a ball right here. And the primary shutoff is up there. It's got a ball too. I can't really get to that one right now, but I'll explain. It's basically the same concept up there as right here, but there's a ball in here. So if liquid gets pumped through the vacuum system and it ends up in here, this ball in here will float up to the top and it will intercept the suction on the top there, and that in theory should stop the vacuum from pulling here, because you don't want to get water in there. And that's another one that's a filter too. That's not like a ball shut off, there's just a filter in there to try to stop the liquid from going through. So it's got the primary ball floaty shut off thing up there, secondary ball floaty thing shut off here, then it's got a filter, and then finally the vacuum. So I could run it right now, because this is just the blower. It goes here to an oil catch can, because the oil system in there does put oil into there, so oil ends up coming out here a tiny bit, and that's designed to catch it, and it's got a drain to drain it out. So if I can get the truck started, I could try it out, but I got to replace this piece. This is the fuel primer. I couldn't get this truck started before because this thing flew apart, and I've replaced it before, so I'm gonna replace it again, but who knows how long it'll last. All you can buy is junk ones. That's all that's made. So got another junky one. It was a little more expensive than the last junk one, but I'm gonna put that on, and then as long as the batteries are charged up, then I can start it. Let's see if I can get at least show where it's at. This right here is the fuel primer. So I just gotta stick a wrench on there. There we go. Okay, I'll be able to do this with this tripod. Yeah, gasket, and here's where it cracked apart. that up later. I'm worn out. I'm always worn out. And I know I should have painted that vacuum, but you know what? I am so tired of going out and working 7, 12-hour days. I don't really like to do anything extra anymore. So that's why that's not getting painted. All right, prime it up. Just pump that about 1,000 times. I'm gonna prime it more. I'm gonna turn the camera off though. Yeah, awesome. The key is in the on position, and I haven't been in here for a month, so that's probably how it was left. So yeah, the batteries are gonna be dead. Yep. Oh my god. I have to drag a whole bunch of extension cords to get out here, or fix my generator. And I'll just do the extension cords. But yeah, I don't really want to do that. Now I'll go ahead and do it. But I was also replacing all the skylights on the shop there, and I kind of want to finish that up. And it's like 7 o'clock right now, and it's starting to rain again, so I guess maybe I'm not doing skylights. So I have not been able to get to run consistently. I can get it started with starting fluid, and I think the issue, it might be this fuel filter, because this is going to sound really stupid, but I put a used fuel filter on there. God, that sounds so stupid saying it. This truck last time I ran like 2 years ago, I needed a filter, and the parts store didn't have one, so I took one off another truck, and it had been on that truck for many years too. So I'm gonna try changing this fuel filter. I ordered one, and fill with kerosene and see if it'll run then. God, that sounds so stupid, a used fuel filter. Well, but that's where I'm at, so I'm gonna change that and then get back. Okay, I got a new fuel filter on here, and this one actually, now when I push the primer, there's actually pressure behind it, so maybe it is just a bad fuel filter. And then the other fuel filter, well, it's being incinerated. Oh, see what this thing does now. So I know that doesn't sound like it's running, but really that sound is it running. It's just not running good, not enough to sustain itself. It would not spin that fast with just a starter. That means that there is detonation happening. And that was it, just running on pure starting fluid. It's close. are getting closer. I'm gonna see if I can't get it to run a little smoother. I'm gonna pause video recording. Well, I've got it to run a little bit, but what I found is the gas pedal does not work at all. I know I've had a problem with this before, and it would do that sometimes, but now it seems like it's doing it all the time. So I might need to maybe just go through the fuses. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to figure that out. Okay, so it's been a little while. I did end up getting the truck fixed, and it was actually something that I probably could have figured out eventually, but ended up having a mechanic figure it out. And I was sitting there talking to the mechanic, and pretty much just sitting there talking to him, telling him what was going on, we both figured it out. So, but he ended up fixing the problems, and I'm going to try to go out there a little bit later and talk about what the problem was with the truck. But I don't know if you can hear it right now, but it's actually November, and it's about 65 degrees, which means we have about 50-mile-per-hour winds. If you're from the area, you kind of know what this place is like. It's like from September to May, your typical day is at least 20-mile-per-hour winds and 30, 40. But when it gets a little bit warm, which tends to happen, you know, it should really be about 5 degrees out there, but it's 65 for some reason. But yeah, we have about 50-mile-per-hour winds. But anyway, I think this is where I left off. I was going to get a new clamp, but I decided not to get a new clamp. I decided just to kind of fix this one. So I stopped at one of the local necropolises, and I dodged all the teal painted, orange haired people and motorized scooters, and I got these bolts. And so I need to try to recreate this bolt. I figured this carriage bolt would be the best way. I'll just take the grinder and cut that down. I'll probably just zoom through it, but that's what I'm going to do rather than buying one of these. And it's not that I couldn't buy one of these, it's more that I always forget to buy one, so I just happen to think about it. So I bought this to just repair this clamp. It should be okay, so I'm going to do that. So this clamp is important because it'll run without that clamp, but this vacuum, when it's spinning, it's got the oiler here, so it's putting oil into the vacuum, and then the oil gets discharged through here and into that catch can over there. So if you don't have this clamp on there, there'd be a lot of oil spillage coming out of here, and it'd create a mess. Okay, hopefully the wind noise won't be so bad. But so what was wrong with this thing? The reason it wouldn't start was actually this right here. This is the high pressure oil pump, and this is a sensor. Well, these wires were pulled out of the sensors. That's why it wouldn't start. I mean, that wasn't the only problem. But the problem that we were when we were looking at this, I had told him that this is the computer right here, and I told him that I had pulled these off and there's oil in there. And he's like, "Oh, well, that's your problem. You know, it was short now." And what we had figured out, there's a sensor back there, a high pressure oil sensor. The sensor was blown out, so the high pressure oil was coming through the sensor, being pumped through one of the wires, and it was using one of the wires as just like a pipe and sending the oil into there and then shorting across the computer. And that was really all that was wrong with it. So he had fixed that up, and I guess it's good. So let's just start it up and turn on the vacuum. I'm gonna close this hood though, because I don't want it to come flying shut with this wind. There's still an issue with the dash. We pulled another cluster out of another truck, but it didn't quite work with this because the other truck was a DT466 and this one's a DT466E, which makes it just a little bit different. Okay. Well, I mean, I think this thing is fixed. Well, at least the vacuum part. I still think it needs the injectors rebuilt, but that's a whole nother video. And it does need a little bit more work done. There is a hole in one of the 90s, so it does have a vacuum leak. But as for repairing the vacuum pump, I think that's it. I mean, this video is... Oh, I think I started filming it in like March or something, but then I got so busy with the coronavirus going on, you know, and the booming economy, and it was just, there was so much work to do. But I made a lot of money over the summer, but my videos have suffered. And I probably had 5 videos I had started videoing during the summer that I had to just abandon because I just didn't have time, you know, and because it takes so much extra time to film everything as you're doing it. So I'd start out with the best intentions of getting everything filmed, and then I just run out of time and I have to get stuff done, get it done, you know, and then film it, and kind of sucks. But that's it, you know, that's the end of this video. I hope I didn't forget anything. But now I gotta edit it, and I might end up doing some voiceover with this. Who knows? The end.